As we've been hearing, the Cabinet is today considering the further easing of COVID restrictions, including a phased return to the office for many workers starting on the 20th of September. Some companies have already started laying out their own plans for a return. Others may be waiting for more government guidance or feedback from staff. Either way, there's sure to be a challenging transition ahead for many employers and employees. To talk through some of those challenges, I'm joined now by Caroline Reedy, who's Managing Director of the HR Suite. Caroline, maybe first to get an idea of what people's rights are. If an employer opens the office on the 20th of September, can staff insist that they continue to work remotely?
So I suppose each person's contract of employment, Adam, would outline where their place of work is. And for the majority of employees pre-COVID, it would state the office is their place of work. And unless that is contractually agreed, in other words, via negotiation between the parties, the place of work remains the office. However, in practical terms, if we want to retain and attract really good people, keeping that stance without that consultation and that negotiation, I don't think is actually going to work.
On the flip side, some may be desperate to get back to the office. Can staff ask maybe to be put at the front of the queue for a phased return?
Absolutely, and for some staff members, as you say, they may not have the right setup at home ergonomically, they may not have the privacy, it mightn't just be working for them from a social perspective, and they absolutely can, because for most employers now, they're planning a hybrid, because the social distancing at the moment, until we hear more from the government to manage that, for most organisations, they're doing so many people in the office so many days each week, so that you've got a mix of a hybrid. So some people are getting to work in the office this week, more are getting to work next week, and that seems to be most palatable for employees and most manageable for employers in the short term at least.
Can employers be selective in who they bring back in early on at least? For example, can they keep office spots for vaccinated staff only?
No, vaccination is probably one of the biggest hotspots of this entire phase and return, because we can't ask if somebody's vaccinated or not, even though for a lot of employers they will know because they've given time off for people to get vaccinated. However, we can't use that information to disadvantage or advantage parties. So social distancing, good respiratory hygiene and good etiquette in terms of managing that office return has to be in place, and the vaccination is another layer of protection on top of that for those that are vaccinated, but not everybody will be, as we know, even though we're very, I suppose, high in terms of the percentage of people who have taken up the vaccine in Ireland. So hopefully that's another layer of protection that we do have as we return.
You mentioned the distancing requirements. What are the other challenges that employers will face as they try and bring more staff back to the office?
I think there's going to be a reluctance with some staff. You know, they've got very used to working from home and the work-life balance that it offers. For others, they may have relocated to, for example, I'm working from Ballyheigue in County Kerry today, so you can work remotely now very easily. And I think for many people, that work-life balance is something that they might be slow to give up, especially for those that have relocated to different hubs around the country. But outside of that, I think the ergonomic and just the general concern, is it safe and is it going to work? But I think working collaboratively together with lots of communication and a good lead time, that'll allay a lot of the fears people have.
Caroline Reedy, Managing Director of the HR Suite, thank you very much for that.